Thank you for tuning into the YAAACE Time podcast. I'm your co-host Zane, and I got back with me
Katie Atu.
It's Katie Atu back in the building. Today we have another special guest, a legend actually. I would definitely call him a legend.
Yep.
Mr. Cabbie.
Hello, sir. Hello, young lady. Great to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation into your wonderful home and your wonderful space. Well, listen, I'll try not to let you down, and I might tell a few stories I shouldn't tell, because but I don't want to sink any ships. They say loose lips sink ships. I don't want to.
No, drop the tea. I'm here for it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
For sure. Okay, well, I mean, before we really dig deep in, when's the last time you were enjoying Finch, and what's the first memory that comes back to when you come back into this neighborhood?
Great question. When I started the score, I started this streeter segment called Cabbie on the Street. And we came up here in 2002, and I was just challenging random people to basketball games. And I am a terrible hooper. In fact, I'm like the stereotype of black people who hoop. Yeah. I'm the opposite of that. I played baseball and football in growing up, and hooping was not. I'm a big body, so I'm just gonna get rebounds. I'm just gonna do the dirty work. Yeah. Try to get steals or rebounds. Anyway, we were terrible. It was my producer and I. I tried to just play people, and I lived out at Furway, 5 Needle Furway was my address, and there was a basketball court behind the building that I grew up in, and we were playing people. So that was 2002, and I know I've been here since then, but I just can't remember what. But what I remember, like when I come back here, is in my mind's eye, the area looked a lot different. Like the Jane and Finch Mall looked a lot different than it does now, oh, there was a go-kart place.
Just out here.
Indoor go-karting. I think we came up here when we were in broke students at Ryerson. Like somebody knew, had a parent who owned the place or something. So we had a discount.
You guys had the plug, yeah.
Do it. And then someone had a car because, we're broke students living downtown. I lived at Young and Gerard at the time Ryerson, now TMU. And I lived at 40 Gerard. But someone had a car, and that's how we got up here on a random Wednesday or whatever, where we were playing Grand Theft Auto without trying to damage ours. So I tried to destroy the go-kart place in real life. So I remember the area looking a little bit different, and some of the spots that we would go when I was 8 and 10, and but I have fond memories. Although childhood was kind of hard, but it was still, you look back and you think of the rosier times, the more fun times versus some of the reality of growing up in a really working class area. And, just my dad's from Jamaica, my mom's from Trinidad. And so the house was just loud all the time. And it was soca, it was reggae, there was some slow jams, there was some fights, in Hoggle, so it's, even in some of those turbulent times, there was some beauty of remembering fondly growing up and developing resilience and character and getting licks and coming home late and then just having to mom's just waiting and just oh man, here we go. And so that's what I remember. I know that's a long-winded answer, but it's your question's kind of taking me back down memory lane a little bit,
making the wheels turn. Yeah.
Seriously.
You mentioned in there the show Cabbie on the Street, and actually I do remember we were I think it was with my sister, and I remember saying to her, this guy would probably be a really cool guy to hang out with.
Yeah, right.
For you younger guys don't know, go jump on YouTube, go watch some of the Cabbie on the Street.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's hilarious.
It was it was out of pocket before we say out of pocket or recklessness.
Put it this way, if you were on TikTok that time, he would have been trending real quick.
Yeah, for the wrong
reason. So my question was, where did that come from? Where did the idea for Cabbie on the Street come from? Was that your idea that you pitched to them? Did they come to you? How did that come to be what it is today?
I used to watch a lot of BET, and I got a shout out a guy named Al Shearer who started a segment called Hits from the Street.
Yes.
And that was in the late 90s, early 2000s. I started my segment in 2001. and I was a script writer at the score, and we were like write the details for a highlight back. So the audience would be watching Blue Jays versus Detroit Tigers, and see them back watching, and then the announcers would be saying, Carlos Delgado hits a homer to right field, 4-1 Blue Jays. So we would be the ones.
Yeah.
There were like 10 of us that were either from TMU, Humber College, Sheridan. There were just a bunch of like 21, 22, 23-year-old, mostly dudes who had aspirations to be on TV. And so one summer, there were a couple of hosts, one named Lisa Bose, another guy named Steve Coolius, and they were trying to change their weekend show, just make it a little bit different than the weekday highlight show. They're like, hey, what about doing like a man on the street segment? I'm like, I'm not sure. But like, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
And then I met a guy who worked in the control room. He went to York, and he graduated before I did, although I never graduated. And he had a camera. He had a Canon XL1. So Brian, I called him my man B, we met, and he's like, do you want to go try? I said, Brian, like, you got a camera. Let's go try a streeter idea. And the idea I had tried was I was just accosting random people in Toronto, just going about their business. And here I am, just the fat, obnoxious, like round-faced dude asking people. I was asking about, I found this list of fictional names for mascots. And they were just so stupid and cheesy. I don't even want to repeat them because I've forgotten. The memory's so terrible that I've forgotten what I had as options. So once I cut a pilot. It was like 3 minutes, showed the boss. And he's like, oh, this is okay. Do another one. I was like, okay. So then I went out and I asked people how they felt about the national anthem being played before sporting events, before this became a polarizing issue in the middle of a culture war in which we now exist. And half of the people were like, I could do without it. And the other half were like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's kind of a tradition. As after high school, we would never hear the national anthem other than at a sporting event, right? And at the end of the bit, I got people to sing "O Canada," and I just edited it together, and I was also singing. And then there was a moment where I was singing to a baby in a stroller, and the baby started to cry. And it was that moment when I showed my boss, like, all right, we did another one of these bits. And he's like, okay, this is funny. I said, well, can we start to air them? He's like, yes. So they started to air, Sunday night at 11:55 p.m. Like no one saw these segments, and they were trash for a long time. And it took a while to find like my voice, my point of view, and I was just trying to have fun in the street, asking people trivia, sports stuff. And it wasn't until like 2002, I got a press pass to go to a Raptors game, and I got to interview actual athletes. I remember there's some hockey players and some basketball players. I remember Barry Davis being in one of them when he played for the Charlotte Hornets. This is how long ago it was. And I asked them, like, what do you guys eat before games? It was like, I didn't put a lot of thought into like random things. Yeah. And then one of the dudes, I eat like BLT. I'm like, you eat bacon? You eat pork? He's like, yeah, I eat pork. I'm like, really? The dude was like, you eat pork? Like, we don't eat pork. But he's, I don't know. So that's kind of how it started. And then it was just because, so the score ran a loop. So for an hour, you had like 55 minutes of just highlights, and then you might have one feature. So a 5-minute story, or you might have a couple, one at like the 25-minute mark and then one at the 55-minute mark. And mine would be at the 55-minute mark. And it would play constantly in this loop. And that's how people got to see these interactions. This random fat dude just bothering people in the street, wearing terrible Nietzsche shirts, Echo jerseys, oversized Sean John shorts. So that's how
old brand.
Don't even know what that is.
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Before you were born, probably. I think maybe had like a FUBU wristband. The breakthrough moment for me at that time was. I did a street hockey segment where we would wait for the lights to go red, and then we had one of those orange street ball hockey balls, and then we would just like, with the hockey sticks, go 1, 2, 3. So we would kind of like clap them over the ball, and then we just play for like 35 seconds or however long the light lasted. And then we're like, card. So we'd pause the game, and then we played a 1. And I remember playing Cardinal Official outside of the ROM. Randomly ran into Cardi at Avenue and Bloor. I don't know what he was doing, but it's like, Carter, you want to play? She said, sure. And we played, and I beat him. And I was so reckless with my speech. But yeah, that was a big breakthrough moment for me, because people are like, what is this thing? These aren't highlights. These are generic sound bites from hockey players saying, oh, we give 110%, or we like to play our game, or one game at a time. All these platitudes that they would. This is like me trying to inject a little bit of personality into the game.
And that was the beauty of it, because you got to see these professional players, which you only ever get the sound bites. Oh yeah, we got to try better.
Right.
It's always just about that, and then you come with this left field question that you even see in their face. They're like,
Wait, what?
Yes.
all right. I definitely would see them get caught off guard, and I loved it.
Thanks.
I loved it.
Thank
man.
you very much.
I think that was part of the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised I never got punched. There was one time where Amar'e Stoudemire was heated, bro. I made fun of his. I found out that when he played for the Suns, this is like 2009 or whatnot. Someone told me that he lost the most money on the plane playing cards. So I brought it up to him, and we're in the locker room, just Amar'e Stoudemire, myself, my producer, and the camera guy, just 4 dudes, and I made some comment about one of his tattoos. I'm like, oh, did you have to get that tattoo because you lost in, ooh, my guy did not like that, because tattoos, I mean, to some people are very personal. Other people are like, oh, my skin's just a canvas. I'm just put some cool designs on my skin. So anyway, I made a comment about something. And he's like, what the F? What kind of questions are these? And then Leandro Barbosa walked in. We were there to interview Steve Nash. Steve was in the back getting treatment or whatever. And then Leandro Barbosa walks in. What kind of thing is this, LB? As though, like, Barbosa had any idea who the hell I was and why I was in there bugging his teammate. I think Raja Bell had told me that, and Raja Bell was great. That Raja Bell told me that Stoudemire lost a lot of money on the play. Anyway, man, I was like, okay, man, and then pew, we just put that bad boy in reverse and just backed up out of the locker room, and then we just moved down the hall. I was like, oh man, that was not good. He was not into it. Another time.
Sorry, before you continue, did you ever see him again after that?
Yeah, I did see him in Toronto like the next season, and then he forgot about that.
Oh, really?
He's like, oh, you've always been, like, big smiles, like, you've always been great to me. I'm like, I have been.
Like, you don't remember
So
the
yeah,
last
thanks
time?
for the interview. And he was super nice, and I've only met Amar'e Stoudemire. I think I met twice. The first time when I insulted him, and the second time when he was super friendly and he'd forgotten our first interaction. There's another time where Chris Paul was like halfway, like question 2. He's like, are you going to ask me some real questions? I was like, no, sir. No, I'm not. And then he looked over at his coach as though, like, coach, pull me out of this situation. Cause like, this guy's breathing on me. I can hear him. I can just hear him sweating. These questions are awkward. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I spending time with this guy? And that would never made the light of day. Because I think after, like, it was a bit, this was into the third question, he just got up and he walked away. And was like, yeah, I took that L. I deserve that L.
I feel like what I appreciate most about your interview styles is how unique it is, but also how you're authentically, like, you show up authentically as yourself without a care in the world, as in, like, I'm just going to be myself 100% and do what I want and just have fun, going back to that personality part. Has that always been a thing? Like, was that always a part of you, or did you kind of have to develop that over time?
No, being authentically myself, yes, it's always been a part of me. But like, I realized early on, well, first of all, when I was in high school, I took a lot of L's.
Okay.
There was like a lot of just trying to ask girls on dates. Oh my goodness. I was like a guy playing in the minors, just trying to make it to the majors. I just want to get an at bat. Bro, I was just swinging and missing, to use that analogy. Just like all kinds of. So I was used to rejection. And then when I was at Ryerson, I wanted to be an actor. Like Will Smith was like my North Star. Will was this comedic, brilliant performer, and just had his energy. He was powered by the sun. That's like it. But I met Will once, and I was so nervous because I had this idea of what Will was in my brain. And I know he was so generous in interviews. I'm like, also like, this is like one of my heroes. And I think I kept it together, and he was very complimentary and stuff. And I was like, holy, and I had to like, I still get nervous every once in a while, but Will was one of those dudes. So anyway, get back to your question. There's just a finite amount of time that you have to interact with these athletes, whether you're in a dressing room or a locker room. Right. Or at an event. It's like 2 minutes. You might get 3 or 4 questions in there. And then there's someone else who's going to throw a microphone in there, or a scrum's going to form around the athlete. So you have to like get in and get out. So and my brain was like, well, no one's going to care how hard this is. The audience just wants to see the interaction. They just want to see, they want to be entertained. So it doesn't matter how hard it is, just get a couple of fun sound bites. So I know that like, even in a room where I'm the jokester and the rest of the media are just doing like their standard stuff, like, all right, you guys are on a 4-game losing streak. Like, how do you feel? Or how are you guys going to get out of this one? Just asking the same kind of question. And I'm going in there like, all right, I need to see, like, I want you to show me your contact list. Or, you know, you're wearing some fresh J's. Like, how many pairs of J's do you have? And then their demeanor would change because I'm asking them questions about like them as humans, not just as some piece of a team that needs to produce to get 2 points or to get 100 points in a game or whatnot. So I've always been obnoxious, to go back to the authenticity part. And the fearlessness came from just being rejected a lot in high school. A lot. Like I might be batting under 100. Yeah. Like, yeah, maybe like 12 for 100. It's not a good look.
But I'm sure the fortunes have changed.
Yeah, it's a good lesson learned.
Yeah, for sure. But you also did some stuff. It wasn't just sports stuff you've done, right? You also did some stuff with E.T. Canada.
It was no, I was on so for 1 year I was on the Marilyn Denis show. So in between my time at the Score, which was basically like 98 when I started as an intern to 2010, and then from 10 to 11 I worked on a daytime show as like a correspondent. And Marilyn Denis is wonderful. She's really funny and she's really engaging. Right. And it was the first year of her show. And in that year, I needed to do a year because of my non-compete with the Score. And then I worked at TSN from 11 to 19. So in that time, it was a big learning experience for me because the Score audience was like college dudes. It was basically like men 18 to 34. Mm-hmm. Marilyn's audience was much more sophisticated. Mm-hmm. And it was, you know, women 25 to 49 versus men 18 to 34. So a lot of the shenanigans and hijinks that I would do the Score could not do on Marilyn's show. And I had to like grow up a little bit. And also like the team, there were like 30 people, 35 people that worked on Marilyn's show. 31 of them were women. At the Score, it was like 90% dudes and 10% women. So the working environment changed, and I was much more aware of like, oh, this is a different professional environment. Yeah. We're over here at the Score doing fantasy pools and betting and gambling and calling each other. It was like a high school, you know, and everybody like little cliques. So when I was super competitive, and then there at Marilyn's show at CTV, we were like, okay, it's professional. Like there's, you know, I'm not saying recklessness out loud or whatever. And so it was, that was a great learning experience because I had to write for a different audience. And even when I pitch things, I'm like, okay, I have to think of Marilyn's audience versus the audience that I was more a part of at the Score, which is 18 to 34.
Right.
That 18 to 34 male demo.
So how did you like maintain that authenticity of who you were, switching that demographic into it's a completely different demographic?
Yeah. I tried to still have like, my perspective on the show as a correspondent was like young man's perspective on whether we were talking about like relationship stuff or I was out in the field. It was actually a lot of a relationship stuff because, I mean, that's always interesting. And we can talk about, you know, men, women dynamics probably until the end of time. Because no one's ever, I mean, some people can figure it out like later in life, but so for many of us, we're still trying to figure out how to properly communicate with each other and, you know, how to fall in love or when you fall out of love and just navigating those really emotional times in life. So I was just kind of a jokester and I would try to add a joke or two here and there when discussing semi-serious things. I wasn't on a panel where, you know, we're talking about like traumas and stuff. Myself's always been lighthearted, and that's the energy that I try to bring. And not annoy people, but I don't know if I was as successful in that venture as other times.
Hey man, sometimes you just gotta continue to show up as yourself, and they gotta take it or leave it, right? So that's what I learned from watching your videos. 100%. And that brings me to my next question about like rejection. Like I know you talked about it a little bit in school, but like within your career? Like, did you face any rejection within your career that kind of maybe put you in a position where you didn't know if you wanted to continue?
Thankfully, no. There were a lot of times we got no's. Like they're a gatekeeper. So starting in television, there are gatekeepers that are like executives at networks, and they're the ones who pick. Okay, you can be on the air.
Right.
You can't. You have to develop a little bit more. You over there, not right now. That kind of thing. And then so once you overcome that barrier, then it's when in my field where I was trying to get access from athletes, the gatekeepers are the PR staff. So many times we got no's. Like it was harder for me to interview Sid Crosby, who was the face of hockey for a long time, than it was Kobe Bryant. And we never understood, like it just didn't make sense because Kobe was a measurably more famous and popular athlete than Sidney Crosby. But in the culture of hockey, it was so insular, and the players, like their personalities were like intentionally suppressed. So there was some rejection. But as far as career goes, I never had thankfully, I was very lucky that I didn't experience anything particularly challenging where I was reconsidering what I was going to do for a living. I've been very fortunate. And in this lane that I started to carve out for myself in like sports and pop culture, people didn't really understand it. And it took a while for them to see like, oh, okay, we see what this is. This is just an alternative of entertainment because sports is an athletic pursuit, but it's also entertainment.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is just another like area of like silliness that people can like enjoy themselves and see the athletes in a different light.
So you mentioned the man, Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. He would just see you and you could tell the familiarity, and you guys became friends.
We were, like I've never been to his house. He's never been to my house.
Tried it.
I was about to say the PJs didn't. It didn't happen.
Had them for a while too. I gave him a key to my house. I tried all these different shenanigans, different ways to like get into like Kobe's orbit, and many of them failed. But we were like very friendly, and he did lower his guard to show a different part of himself, and I was very fortunate that this stupid face was the one. He's like, okay, you will be the guy that I will have some fun with versus, the guy that the rest of the league. I had a player recently who's in town like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
We ended up hanging out, and he was like, Kobe was like really tough, man. He was like really tough on a lot of guys. And it's like, and you're here laughing with it. You got him to
like,
lighten up and laugh and crack jokes. Yeah. Because I don't know how you did that, man. I was like, well, I don't know either, but I'm happy that I was the one that he chose. That he said, okay, we'll have some fun with you. And listen, it wasn't, I got to interview him a bunch of times, like 20 times, but thankfully what helped, I think, one was being Canadian. Two, I wasn't going in with an agenda. I was like, I wouldn't, like, the goal of this interview was for me to make you laugh, or for you to like put me in a headlock or something, like have some moment where the audience is like, okay, this guy, like Cab is the butt of the joke, and Kobe just gonna hit these, crack these jokes over the fence. Terrible analogy, but like I want to put him in a position to win favor from the audience, and if I'm the butt of the joke, it's just an easier way to win, and he understood that, and I think he had some fun with it too.
100%. You have there's one video that I saw recently. I didn't remember it from before, but it's flying in the helicopter with Kobe. So I guess let's start with where were you when you found out about Kobe's passing? And I remember that day where I was exactly what was going on. I was at Woodbine Center. We were at my nephew's birthday party. Okay, it was a Sunday, I remember. Yeah, and I walked into EB Games, and the guy at EB Games told me, "Oh wow!" And I was like, "Why would you say something like that?" You know what I mean? Some random way. Why would you say that to me? And then jumping on Twitter and seeing it. Yeah,
I kept refreshing TMZ.
Yeah.
Where were you? Do you remember?
I was at home.
You were on?
Yeah, it was at home. And then for me, how I saw it was in the group chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some friend in the group chat, and I was like,
Just
No.
this.
And I was just going onto the internet real quick to like Google search it, and then that's when I saw it on the news.
I was at home too, and I was living in Las Vegas at the time, and I just kept refreshing TMZ because TMZ had earned like its standing in as like a news breaking organization that you can trust.
Right.
Because like TMZ got it, like it's
Then it has to be
99.9% chance it's true.
Yeah.
So actually, a friend called me, and then he's like, "Have we've seen the news?" I'm like, "No." And Vegas is like PST, so like Pacific Standard. So it was, I don't know, like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning when I heard, and then I messaged a friend of mine who works for the Lakers, and they were on the plane. I think they were playing in Philly, and they're on a flight home. So they found out on the plane, and they must have flown home the next morning. So yeah, I was devastated. I mean, it was, and you mentioned the helicopter part, and thank you. I pitched that I was hosting this video game activation. It was Kobe was playing Carmelo in NBA Live. This is how long ago it was. 'Cause NBA Live was still a title. Now you just play 2K. Or everyone just plays 2K.
Yeah. Bring back live.
Yeah, I think it is coming back in because 2K is done by a different publisher than EA. EA Sports had 2K, and I think 2K is Interactive Games or so. And then another publisher.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I think Kobe won, and it was afterwards. We're still at the venue. We're eating, and then I pitched him the idea of like flying his helicopter, and he agreed. And I didn't know till months later that he had his own helicopter. Because I called my producer back. I'm like, "Yo, he agreed. Like, he said he's gonna do the helicopter thing. Our plan was okay. We went back to LA. Then we go to the boss of the network, ask him for the company credit card. We had no idea how much it cost to rent a helicopter. We're thinking like 50 grand. What can we spend? I'll blow the whole budget on getting a helicopter to fly with Kobe. This man had a helicopter. So the day we went to shoot it, we're at the small airport in Santa Ana, and we're supposed to be there at 9. I think we arrived at 8:58. But the text messages from the PR on the lake, so where are you guys? Like, we're supposed to be there now. I'm like, we're here. It's 8:58. Look, we're early. And for some people, like, on time is late.
Yeah.
So, and I think Kobe was one of those.
Yep.
Anyway, he got there like 9:01 or something, and we flew from Santa Ana to El Segundo, where the practice facility was, and so later, obviously, the way that he passed was like it hit me harder because I was one of the few to fly in a helicopter with him, and he I was the only person he granted an interview or to have that kind of experience with him, like documented on camera. And I think Steve Nash used this helicopter a couple of times or a few times, and so that was very painful.
It wasn't the same helicopter though, right? It was...
Correct. Noted. Yeah, it was years later. I mean, we did that in 2010. Yeah. On practice days, he would fly on a smaller one, and that day was like this red one, and on game day. So we fly from Santa Ana to an airport right outside of the practice facility, LAX, and then have a driver drive from LAX to the practice facility. Mm-hmm. Game days, he would drive from Orange County to this regional airport in Santa Ana, and then fly downtown. It'd land on top of one of the towers downtown, take the elevator down, have a car, drive into Staples Center, go draw 35 and 8
Different
on a W against the Magic or the Mavs or whatnot, and then most times Vanessa would drive back like with him to his house, or sometimes he would stay downtown. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a bigger helicopter on game day, smaller one on practice days. For
What a life. Eh?
like
Hey man, it was constant. He was time efficient. He was like, this saves me an hour, 20 minutes of travel time. I'm like, I can get if you're saving that much time, like you can be. I mean, this guy was maniacal about his workouts too, and I'm sure he was one of them. That we live in a world now where so much what we see on IG is like how to optimize your life, and whether it's various apps or like you wake up earlier and like, at the time of this recording, there's a meme about homie doing his morning routine, wakes up at 3:57 doing push-ups on his patio. Face in the ice bowl.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is going to be published a lot later than that video, but some of you guys might know. And the dude is just shredded too. Like, shout out to that brother. My guy is like 210, 3% body fat. I mean, guys, this looks immaculate. Then it's morning. So Kobe had a version of that morning routine, and saving the time flying in a helicopter helped to optimize his day.
Yeah.
So, and I've heard some wild story. One story I heard a real brief about his work ethic was in '08 when the American team was preparing for the Olympics. The '08 team was called the men's Olympic basketball team. They're called the Redeem team.
Yeah.
And
LeBron was on that team too.
Yeah, LeBron, D Wade, Chris Bosh, Carmelo. Chris Paul was probably on it. Kobe got into cycling just before, so he wanted to work on his endurance. So he worked with a trainer named Tim Grover, and Kobe said, "I want to do some cycling while we're out here in Vegas." And so Tim Grover called up Nike. He's like, "Send the Lance Armstrong bikes, like those type of bikes." Yeah. So Kobe just couldn't go cycling by himself at 5:45 in the morning. You had to have the squad. So not like the players, but have like his team and security or whatever. So they had send like 8 bikes. So at 5:45 in the morning, as the sun is breaking, this guy is like on empty highways, putting in 40K, 50K bike rides before, and then going to work out. Then his teammates are waking up to go for breakfast, and this guy's already worked out twice, coming in drenched. And then that you hear stories from those players telling like, "Yo, Coke's already worked out. It's never believed in 7:55."
Right, like
a.m.
they just started.
And this dude took what the blueprint that Michael established and then just like elevated it another level.
Yeah. I've heard stories of guys coming back from the club and Kobe's leaving to go work out. And those guys are thinking, man.
In Vegas, I think too. Yeah, dudes coming back like with cocoa butter and glitter on parts of their faces or whatever, smell like tequila and bad decisions. Or there's a smell. I don't think you know the smell. But we know the smell. There's a smell in those establishments there's a cocoa butter and something kind of smell. Bad decisions, I think, is the proper mix. The potpourri of sapphires and spearmint rhino. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll keep
the tapes.
We'll keep it moving.
So other than Will Smith that you had mentioned earlier on, was there anyone else that you met or interviewed that you were a little bit starstruck by?
Yes.
A little bit nervous?
Yes. Sorry. I did mention Hits from the Street earlier. So Al did this. So Cabbie on the Street was very much influenced by Hits from the Streets. And Al Shearer was his name. He was fearless. Like he would go to HBCUs and he would do segments there, or the streets in New York. Sometimes he would dress up, and sometimes he would make fun of people a lot. And I felt my sensibilities, I would rather be self-deprecating because I think it's more endearing to the audience. Right. And I'm just an easier target than me like interviewing you and just making fun of you for some reason because like this kind of a jerk. But anyway, he was really funny doing that. I got starstruck. Yeah, I got starstruck a few times. Denzel was another one of my heroes, and I actually have never interviewed him. There was a chance to interview him on wasn't The Equalizer. There was some film press junket, and he said, I said no because Denzel's one of my heroes, and I just didn't want the experience. Yeah, I don't know if I could have risen to the moment, and also I didn't want like. They say never to meet your heroes because you don't want to be disappointed. You don't want to leave disappointed, and that played into my head a little bit. Will was one. Meeting The Rock for the first time was. He's not as big as you think. Like he's like 6'1", and he's like big for like a regular size person. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. If you just Google The Rock, Shaq, Charles Barkley. Then you just see like how much like Shaquille O'Neal is an enormous human. He's the largest human you'll ever see in real life.
Yeah, I've seen him in real life.
You have? Yeah. He's like 50 pounds heavier than you think. And he's like 6 inches taller than you think. He is enormous. And then Charles is also a big dude. So you see this photo of like The Rock, and this guy's like, wow, The Rock is tiny. The Rock is a pebble.
Crazy.
Guys. I had the first time meeting Michael Jordan, I was hella nervous. He was there on Ontario. He was in town for there's a Canadian golfer named Mike Weir. Mike Weir, I think is the only Canadian to win the Masters, and he won in 2004 or 2005. Either way, that you win the Masters, get that green jacket, you are elevated in that sport, and like forever, you're legit, you're validated. So Mike Weir had a charity tournament, and he told me recently, because I'd never met him, and I hosted some event in Calgary last summer. Anyways, he tells me this. That was like September of 09. In like July of 09, he's playing with Michael in like a club in Utah. They're playing for money. Michael loses. So Mike Weir says, if I beat you, you have to come to my charity tournament in Oakville, Ontario in a few months. He's like, bet. And Mike, Michael is, every story you've heard of him, he's like, he's super competitive. Of course. He's like a, type A plus personality, and he loses. So when on our way to the golf course, in September, we're on the phone with the people back at the score. They're like, Michael Jordan, we get word that he's not going to talk and he's not going to do any media. So good luck. And we're like, okay, we're going to go in here. We're going to roll the dice. And before we got in the car, we heard that Steve Nash had canceled and Michael was coming to play. So Mike Weir had called in the favor from July because Steve Nash had canceled. Jordan comes up on the PJ. I approach him on hole 1. And golf courses are very quiet. But before he gets there, you see the swarm of people coming first because they want to get situated before Michael shows up. So then I walk up to him, and there's another reporter from Global. And we're like, hey, Michael, how you doing? And we both have our mics, and we're probably shaking a little bit because it's Michael Jordan. He has an aura. He has an energy. I asked, Kobe had that a little bit. I asked Aaron Rodgers once in telling this Michael Jordan story. I was like, who is that aura? He said the High Holiness, the Dalai Lama has that energy. He said Barack Obama has that energy as well. Do you remember when Game 2, Raptors, Golden State Warriors, President Obama came to the game? Yes. I remember being in the building like, yo, the vibe is different. Like, this is way more, like, who are these dudes in suits? Like, it's like, and he wasn't the president anymore, but he still comes with a security detail. Yeah. And it was just like, and I never got to see him in real life, but I just knew he was in the building, and I saw like on the monitors, they were like, oh man, he's sitting next to Adam Silver. Like, wow, this is the finals. Yeah. Like the president. So Aaron Rodgers felt that way about President Obama, and I felt that way about Michael. So anyway, the interaction was pretty short. I did end up hugging him uncomfortably for about 7 seconds. I gave him this card, and I said, thank you, basically. I gave him a hug. And then towards like the 5th or 6th second, his elbow was like digging into my ribs to peel me off of his body.
Brother, please.
I know. And it was the summertime. It was more sweat. I'm fat. Like there's an extra like 240 pounds on his person that he didn't sign up for, that he did not want. It's like, what is this mother bleeper doing attached to me like a friggin' leech or something?
So a hugger though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Definitely a hugger.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting a hug.
In fact, whether you like it or not.
Yes. Many times not consensual. But anyway, get consent, please. I don't know why I took it there.
Consent.
Yeah. Jeez Louise.
So as a Black man in media, have you gone through any challenges based on race, like that's showed up like right in your face, or?
Yeah. I feel like it hasn't always been
confident, yeah, and definitely. I feel like we're seeing it more now, but especially when you were starting up, I feel like the representation wasn't there a lot.
Correct. Yeah, that's the right assertion. There are a few times that I felt not uncomfortable, but I just knew I was the only one, and that was covering hockey. Hockey is not.
Yes.
Hockey's made strides to be more inclusive now, but when I started covering hockey, that was in 2005, and I was often the only person of color in the room, unless P.K. Subban of the Montreal Canadiens were in town.
That'll do it.
Or Joel Ward and the Nashville Predators were in town, or Wayne Simmons and the LA Kings or the Flyers were in town, or Ryan Reeves when he played with the St. Louis Blues. Like, it was my stupid face. It was the only face in there. And so there were times where, and my producer, when I'm in the moment and I have my 2-minute window with the player, I'm just locked in with the player. And I know I have 3 or 4 questions to ask, allowing some wiggle room for some freestyling or ad-libbing. But like, I got to get in and get out because I know other people will want to speak with that player. So my producer Dave, he'll look around the room and just see people either, you know, with some side eye or like making comments. We had our own colleague once who my producer overheard him talking ish about me to a PR guy. I'm like, we're carrying the same mic flash, bro.
Right.
In order to like separate, well, those guys are doing that over there, but I'm doing real journalism over here, kind of thing. And I'll never forgive this guy, and I'll always hold a grudge. I'm like, I know you tried to do, homie, but like, I was able to usurp whatever bull crap you were trying to pull there because I got time with these, and I got to do. No one's ever going to remember the soundbite that you got, but people hopefully will remember some of the moments that I've created with guys specifically on this team. So, yeah, hockey was a tough one. I did have one experience where a guy from the league. I was walking in the hallway and my credential was turned around. So it was just like the fine print sign, not with my photo, my affiliation. And there was some old man who was working as like a security guard or whatever. And I just walked past him because I didn't realize as I'm walking, I didn't realize that my pass was turned around. Yeah. I was like, hey, where are you going? And I just thought, it was like, oh, okay. You just see like some black dude and you're like, oh, okay. He's not supposed to be here. And I had the executive tell me, you're not supposed to be here. And I was like, oh yeah? And I just walked past him and I didn't, and he was heated because I just walked away from him. And then I called my boss, like, yeah, I got into an altercation with this executive just to let you know. And nothing ever came of it. And the score wasn't the rights holder for the National Hockey League, like it wasn't the partner, but we had credentials given to us by the league. So we were supposed to be there.
Right.
But I was just like,
exactly, to be there.
So that was one time that sticks out. That was particularly challenging, and I didn't want to compartmentalize that as like this is a race thing. But in that world, it was hard not to see it as such because that was the only one. There was a brother who wrote Tarek wrote for Washington Post. And then Eric Stevens wrote for the Orange County Register. And then there's one other, and then like David Amber started TSN, went to ESPN, but he wasn't in the field as much. There's just so few black faces, black or brown faces that covered the sport.
Right.
So I did feel some type of way, but it also put a battery in my back. I'm like, bleep you guys, like no one's going to remember any of the stuff that you guys do, but I'm trying to create memorable moments. And so then I was like, bleep your feelings, like how you feel about this cab. You just got to go and get your clips, get your work in, and then just be out of there.
Just go and do what you do best, essentially. Yeah. Now you're an executive producer, though.
Yeah. It's learning a little bit about the machine is eye opening, and I wish I had learned earlier about how budgets work and like where the areas of importance are, and
a business.
Yeah, how's the business operates, the subscribers, the ad revenue, the partnerships with the brands. I was working at Rogers, where you were talking about at Sportsnet, and my role as an executive producer on the betting side and working with the sports books, working with the leagues. How much can we discuss sports betting in the live programming? So you'll see like a lower third will pop up on the screen, and there'll be the odds, the Mavericks and the Cavaliers, and you'll see some odds. That's, that little graphic will do the heavy lifting versus someone on camera like I was saying, oh, tonight, Leafs and Habs, like the Leafs won 5 in a row, so they're a favorite to win this game, and these are the odds. Like that was a little bit more direct, and learning about, looking at the insights report every 6 months, like how does the audience experience this? And what do they think about betting? And then like, oh man, they're not really into it. So that we'd have to refine some of the content. Okay, maybe less on camera stuff, maybe a little bit more graphical overlay, fewer commercials, because what we saw was like the audience was like, every commercial is a betting commercial. It wasn't really. It was like one every 2 or 3 commercial blocks, but all that stuff was lumped together. So getting that perspective was very valuable, and also learning interpersonal dynamics like in a workplace was extremely valuable. That was actually more revelatory for me than doing the work, because you work in a big organization, For some people, it's a zero-sum game. In order for you to win, I have to lose. That's how they thought. Or for me to win, you have to lose.
Right.
And wins are evaluated differently. We might be winning with some content, but some people over here are like, oh, we hate that content, or, we should just be focused on something else. And those are great lessons, but painful ones too. Because we're all on the same team. We're all getting every 2 weeks. It's the same logo on our paycheck. You know what I mean? And we're trying to grow this business unit. I mean, I work for Rogers. So Rogers is like communications, it was phones, internet, enterprise. Like we're working with other businesses, and then the media division. And it was a great experience. Tough, some things to learn, but it was a great experience.
So with all that experience now that you have, you're talking to a young brother or a young sister from the, not even from the hood, anyone that's trying to get into media, let's say a 15-year-old, where would you say they should start?
Great question. I always encourage them to learn like the Adobe suite. So learn how to learn editing, learn photography, learn graphic design. So it's, Premiere on editing, Adobe Photoshop for design and photos. And I think, what's the audio program? Audition, I think. Audition.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be a creator, then develop the skills for different areas of creation, and get lots of reps in, whether you're either editing the videos or you're the person on camera giving a perspective. It could be like, hey, it's a 2-minute video on like how my mom used to make curry chicken or curry goat, and then chop it up, blah blah blah, and then bang. Or it could be something like math homework made easy. It's like some genius 17-year-old like, oh, that is brilliant, and go through the steps or whatever, quick cuts, or more substantial storytelling, however they want. But get reps in as far as learning the skills to create content, and refining those skills, building those skills. Because now you have to be a jack of many trades.
Yeah.
You're like, there are very few people who are on camera who are just on camera. They're kind of getting phased out. And there are a few people, I mean, you could be a shooter, but if you're a shooter, you're like a camera, a videographer, you're also expected to know how to edit. You're also expected to know how to do Photoshop and that kind of thing. And I know I'm just focusing on like the media side, but that's what I would, that would be my advice for someone. And don't worry about you could try to find your lane right away and figure out your point of view, but it will evolve. I mean, as we all evolve, like our tastes change, the culture changes, and maybe like we're into different things. You mentioned before we started recording, like I live in Calgary, Alberta. You said that's an hour away from Banff. Like I've been to Banff a few times. I think I was the only person in Calgary in Banff, and it's beautiful. Like it's a great place to go visit.
For sure.
The mountains are refreshing.
Yeah.
But somebody from here could take a liking to outdoor sports or outdoor lifestyle and go create content where they're going to the great parks of our country or North America or the world or wherever the content may be. It's great to understand that your point of view will change or refine over time. So if you're into recipe videos or you're making music now, in 5 years, you could be into financial literacy or the crypto space or NFTs or some technology. It'll change.
I think the beauty of it is just to start. Like that's one of the things that keep popping up for a lot of like content creators or people who are struggling. It's just like, I want to do this. I know for myself as well. It's like, I want to do this. I have this idea. Like I really want to go out and do that. But like oftentimes we're all in our heads and just thinking about these things that we don't start. Yeah. We're waiting for it to be perfect. We want to get to that level of like, I want to be able to edit videos like a pro. I want to be able to like have the best sound bites or whatever the case is that we forget to start.
Yeah, right. I feel like it's almost easier to come up with an excuse to not do it than it is come up with the actual idea itself.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm like Mr. Excuse when it comes to work, like working out or having any kind of discipline when it comes to food. What I put in my mouth. Zero. Bro, I landed a few days ago, went right to A&W. Because A&W
is so random. Sorry.
There aren't a lot in Calgary, but I went to A&W at like 1:30 in the morning because this one, I have to do alerts and I know it's 24 hours and it's open.
What'd you get?
There's a commercial. I know, but at the time, whenever somebody sees this commercial won't exist anymore. But they have the stacker commercial.
Oh.
So with a stacker, and then there's a Nashville chicken sandwich. I'm not proud. I'm not proud that I ate that at 2:11.
We listen and we don't judge.
Oh no, there's
actually
judgment.
got a
There's
little bit
heavy
hungry right
judgment, and that's fine. Right? That's fine.
Seriously.
But starting is very important.
Yeah.
And also, no one's gonna be Mr. Beast right away. It took Mr. Beast
yeah.
15 years to become Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast started doing videos in his room when he was 14, and just recording himself playing video games, and then evolved to like the creator of our time, and has a visual language and an editing style that's very much his own. But that took thousands of videos and thousands of hours to, and I'm sure if you look back at this stuff, it was trash. Everybody, when they start, their stuff is trash. Like there's very, very, so take comfort in the stuff that your first 6, 8 videos may not connect or pop the way you hoped, but that's okay. You just stay in the cage, take some more swings, or
You can
get
only
some
get
more
better.
reps in. You will get better.
It's true.
Yeah, that's a life lesson. I mean, it comes true. It's in sports as well, like all across the board, right? Where just actually putting the work in is what's gonna elevate you to where you ultimately want to be.
And some luck too. There's actually, like, I mean, what is it? Luck is preparation meets opportunity, or something like that is the equation. But luck, I mean, you can't plan for luck. You
Like
have
a
to be
sprinkle.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need some seasoning.
Yeah.
A little,
Of that kind of pepper in there.
Hopefully you get blessed with some luck along the way, where a door opens or an opportunity presents itself, and then you're ready for that. Or
It goes back to the power of like just the power of the mind though too, right? Like you have to really want it. Like you have to see yourself so crystal clear that if it's like, let's say you're going to be like a successful person, I'm going to be a successful person, and work towards that despite whatever challenges or barriers come your way, right? But I have a question for you.
Yes.
So let's say you got a FaceTime call right now,
Okay.
and it was from, let's say, 12-year-old you.
Yeah.
What would you say to 12-year-old Cabbie?
I'm sorry to disappoint you. We still have a round face.
We still have a round face as well.
I would say we're not peeing the bed anymore,
Okay.
which is great. 12-year-old me, I was in grade 6. Man, I think I think I wanted a new bike. We got a new bike. I wanted a RC car. We bought ourselves an RC car. Cause like what, we weren't getting, you have very nice kicks. We weren't getting nice kicks. Bro, I had to wear Lynx. You remember the brand Lynx? Lynx.
I don't know where that is.
I had to wear Brooks.
You remember Slammin' Jams?
No.
Oh man, Bark and Harrells.
Oh yeah, I remember Rock Harris. Remember the smell? It was musty.
Musty.
And my
New shoes?
dude, but the whole place smelled musty.
The whole store. It was the
The barrels were musty. All clothes were like
Oh,
nothing was
no.
really that organized. It was just like piles of stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Buy away.
Buy away, bargain herald. Yeah, this is you don't know this the struggles that we had.
It was this before Payless.
Yeah, it was before Bayless. Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was. So 12. Just like I don't even know if I had a North Star when I was 12, because Fresh Prince I think came out in 91. Martin, Fresh Prince, and In Living Color. I think In Living Color was 90. Those were very important shows to me, formative shows where I saw performance. I had no idea how to get on TV,
Right.
and it wasn't an aspiration right away because there was just no path to get on television as a kid that lived in Toronto. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I didn't even know it was a business, but I know they planted just their brilliance as performers and how big and sometimes cartoonish in the skits or the performances they were. Like that appealed to me. So
Yeah.
12, you're going to experience these artists and these actors that are going to change your life. So look forward to it and embrace it when it comes.
I love that.
Thanks. Thank you.
What's one thing you would change about Canadian sports media?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. What would I change about Canadian sports media?
And we're so far behind the Americans. Like, what can we do to catch up a little bit, you know?
I would love to. Well, the internet has democratized a lot of like the barrier of entry because we have more creators in the space. I would love to see those creators more supported by brands or platforms so that there are more voices, but they don't all have the same weight. It would be great if there were like accelerators to give, there might be some teams in Edmonton who love soccer and they ride for Alphonso Davies because he's from it and he lived in Edmonton for a time. Or some creators in Victoria, BC who love women's soccer or women's hockey. And, we obviously focus on the not the press, but like the NHL and the NBA and Premiership. And I would love to see more creators elevated onto bigger platforms, just so that there's more voices and more perspectives covering sports that we love and covering the players that we love and the narratives and the competition. That would be cool. And I'm not exactly sure how they could all be elevated, but more brand support, more financial support so that they pop up more in our feeds versus wherever your personal algorithms are. Your personal algorithms, mine is chaos right now, so I won't share it. But that would be pretty cool.
Great. Yeah, so I'm like really big on mentorship.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's what helped me to get to the position that I'm in today. Like just knowing the right people and them like pouring so much into me. Now I believe in like pouring back. Have you had any amazing like mentors throughout your time that you want to like just shout out, and why would you consider them to be a great mentor?
I didn't have a mentor in like the Mr. Miyagi Karate Kid or like Yoda Luke Skywalker way. I do have there was a teacher in high school, the only black teacher I've ever had in my life. His name is Mr. Brown, Dudley Brown, or Dr. Brown now. He was incredible. I met his brother earlier. He's just such an important man to me because the way that he carried himself, he's so dignified. He was so intelligent. And like, he was so eloquent in the way that he was our science teacher, but he was a voracious reader. So he would, my friend Nigel, one of my best friends, also a black student, him and Nigel connected on comic books because they're comic book nerds. I'm like, oh, you're a black dude, you're a comic book nerd? Like you guys are unicorns, but he was very much himself. Like he's very comfortable in his own skin and could be like, yeah, I'm a comic book nerd. Like I love Wolverine and I love X-Men and whatever else he was into. But he was also like a type A athlete. Like he was a national champion, played for University of Guelph. They won a championship. And then my guy was just yoked. He was like 5'8", but he was, my guy had Arnold Schwarzenegger's chest. Like my guy was like, he had Billy Blanks' complexion or Wesley Snipes' complexion and was just jacked. So he also come in and attention and respect because like no one was going to test him. And then but later on in my life, I mentored some young people, and it's so rewarding when you like. I'm a person, I love to celebrate others' success, like as though they're my wins. Because like when you win, I win. We all can win. Like a high tide rises all boats, and there's enough food for everybody to eat. So as a less Yoda, I would more of like a check-in. How are things going? Who can I introduce you to? More like how are things going? If you need to call me, there's one dude that I was mentoring who I would get phone calls at like 3:17. I would see it. I'm like, yo, you good? Like, where are you? Because you get a call at 3:17. Like it's not. Yeah. Something's going wrong. Yeah. And this girl, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. You're safe. You're like,
right.
You're not like King Street. You're not like an after party, and there's the recreationals going around. You're at home. Okay. But whereas I didn't have a Yoda, I enjoyed for a handful of young dudes, and not just in media. One guy was a finance guy. This other dude wanted to be an agent. Another dude, a young brother I was telling you earlier before recording, worked in Region. He worked with a bunch of like a young, and hopefully I provided some safe space for them to vent or to just needed like an OG to just listen to them or give a couple of nuggets of advice. That was very rewarding. So the mentors that you've had, I'm sure you both mentor a lot of people. It's like, I don't know if the people can express how it feels for them or how beneficial it is for them, but I would certainly advocate for you to continue because it like in some ways, either big ways or marginal ways, it definitely helps improve their experience.
And sometimes you don't even realize it until years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
sure.
And sometimes they won't never tell you how it has impacted their life. But just like, I don't know, because I always think back of like just growing up and all the people who have influenced my life or has supported me in like very small ways. To them, it's like, oh, nothing. It's nothing. But for me, it's like, this is what shifted my life and like it made me more confident in myself.
Awesome.
So it just goes to show like, we should just pour into other people as well. So no matter how small, because I know you were like, it's not like Yoda, but so what? Just that one phone call could have been the difference between you know what I mean, that one small phone call to you but could have been major to him. So you just never know.
And pouring in without expecting anything.
That part, yes.
Without waiting for the phone call for them to say, yeah, thank you for that. Just doing it because it needs to be done.
That's it.
agreed.
That's it.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, so you've done TV, online media, and different interviews. You've like done a lot of different things. You've traveled. So what is next for Cabbie?
Right now, I'm like building a couple of businesses.
Entrepreneur.
One is like not entrepreneur. Like I don't really have the entrepreneurial spirit, but I'm trying to build a business with a couple of partners around sports, the attention economy, and commerce. Another project that I'm working on is working directly with athletes to write and build content franchises for them, whether they front them or they bring in people in their lives or other creators, and we operate under an umbrella. These are both long-term projects because it's not. I have some pretty great relationships with athletes, but it's still, as I've discovered, things move. Like your energy, you want it to move quickly, but the process is slow. It moves at a certain pace, and sometimes you have to get brands to. You want brands to come in on board to pay for stuff, and sometimes it be self-funded.
For sure.
But where I'm figuring that out. Also, like working with different personality types. Like I'm one way, but now I have to learn, like, okay, this is how you work, or I have to learn, like, all right, I have to have like 10 questions answered before I present something to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be in the reverse situation. I just like, okay, here's the idea. And then it's like, all right, what about this. And just like, okay, I'm not sure yet. I don't know. I'll get back to you. Versus if I have them all answered, then the decision matrix is a lot smaller. Like you get a yes, right? Okay, yeah, all those things are aligned. Let's do it. Perfect. So got to do a lot of work on the back end before presenting it. And then I might get back into the content game. But there's some interesting things or cool things happening. I just haven't. I don't have anything quite ready to announce yet. I'm working on some things.
Okay, so you're saying everybody needs to go follow you on
Well, I mean, if they want to, like, yeah.
so we know what's coming up.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But the stuff that you have been posting, though, that like on the street stuff,
Yeah.
was like randoms.
Yeah.
That's you're going on in Calgary.
Yes, I'm doing like this little playlist. I love music, and I curate playlists, and I'm curious to like but finally, like the way someone looks on the like I'm pleasantly surprised in like what they listen to, and it's I know I'm coming in with an unconscious bias, or maybe more of a conscious bias because we all have them. But I'm looking at some dudes, a white dude with a mustache, and like he just looks like a gym bro. But he's like, oh yeah, I'm listening to the Migos. I'm like, you are? You know what I mean? Like,
People be surprising you, yeah?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a few street interviews. I'm doing like this little game show thing with. I just while I've been here, I interviewed Nima. Do you know who Nima Naz is? Nima Naz is like this. He's a content creator, and he does impressions, and he does like 12 like impressions, like 12 different cultures. Like he's Persians, and he'll do like Southeast Asian. He'll do some Caribbean. He'll do like a Toronto man. He'll do like he does it like he's excellent. So I'm trying to just stay creative while these businesses are moving kind of slow. Right. And I do enjoy just working on that muscle and making sure I can still have some chops or still contribute to people's their escape when they just need 45 seconds, or they're just in transit on the train or the bus, or whatever. They just need a little escape. I want to be there for the escape. And hopefully when they consume one of my videos, like, oh, okay, they can move on to the next one, but they don't feel like they wasted their time watching some of the silly stuff that I do.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I do. As somebody who's met Colby, LeBron, met all these guys,
Trouble.
I want to talk about generations. And you hear a lot now that this new generation of athletes is softer than the guys from the 90s, say, or what's your take on that?
The style of play is definitely different. It was much like it's specifically in basketball and actually football too, because you can't even touch, like they changed so many rules. It's like impossible to play defense in football. You can't touch the receiver. You can't touch the quarterback. Like you have to hit the quarterback just on the numbers. You can't hit them, below the knees, or maybe if you hit them on the thigh pads, like you can get a flag for that. So it's much harder. Obviously, the athletes are bigger and faster and stronger than they were 20 years ago. Baseball hasn't evolved that much, although guys aren't getting hit as often as they were before.
By pitches?
Hit by pitches. Hockey, there's less fighting and there's more skill. So it is, I guess, softer, but guys are faster. I mean, Connor McDavid is like this.
Insane.
I mean, his nickname is McJesus. The guy is like, he's playing on God mode like all the time. But specifically for basketball, what do I think about that? There's more offense, which is great. I don't hate the abundance or the reliance on the three-point shot, because the ball movement, I think, is beautiful basketball. When the Spurs were moving, there were like 8-10 touches before someone had an open corner three. That was beautiful basketball. And teams still play it. They play unselfishly. Would I like to see more dunks? Yes. Would I like to see the occasional dust-up fight? Sure. I mean, it's...
You get ejected out of a game for swearing at somebody. Now, by the end of the day, you punch somebody in the face and you just got to go sit down for a little bit. Back in the game.
Oh, yeah. No one's throwing punches now. And they're fining you like 100 G's.
Seriously,
and like that hurts. Yeah. Even guys making millions, like no one wants to give away $100,000. You know what I mean? So it's less physical for sure. I think it's more skilled now. But I still enjoy the game. I still enjoy all the games as much as I did before. I was gonna say football, maybe I enjoy more if it was more physical, but no, because like guys, I mean that sport is so physically demanding, and we don't want guys out here with scrambled eggs for brains for our entertainment, because like that's very painful for them, and then sometimes it has really painful consequences because guys aren't right because they've had so much head trauma. That kind of thing. But I still find the games exciting. Even though like the Boston Celtics will shoot 40 3-pointers a game, 40 or 50, like it's up to the Cavs or the Detroit Pistons or who else is like it's up to, who am I forgetting? The New York Knicks to play better defense so that Peyton Pritchard isn't killing you with six 3-pointers from downtown, or Jason Tatum isn't going 3 for 11 from downtown.
More threes than they do twos. I read that just the other day, that Celtics are averaging more 3-pointers a game than they are.
I know, that's wild. That's wild. It's crazy. And but they're still like, we mentioned Kobe, and like Kobe's like, and he was the mid-range king, and DeMar DeRozan was one of those dudes, mid-range. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, he's a 3-level scorer, and the kid is so smooth, but he loves it. Like, he's got a great mid-range game. So there's still some elements of old school that exist in the present game. Maybe not as many, but I think the aesthetics of the game I really enjoy now. And there still will be, and we have unicorns like Nikola Jokic, who will have a 30, 20, and 20 game. My guy played water polo when he was younger. That's how, like, his arm angles when he's passing. You're like, oh, that's how he's such, like, part of the reason why this guy can throw. I remember talking to Fred VanVleet, and the next day they were going to play the Nuggets. I was like, bro, how the bleep do you guys defend Nikola Jokic? Look, this guy throws passes from everywhere. Like, literally anywhere on the court. And, like, not just throwing them the thumb. Like, they're perfectly placed. Like, in stride or where his player his teammate likes to shoot either a corner three or cutting to the net gets an easy bunny. Like it's the passing is just elite. And Fred was like, I don't know. He's just, I don't know. Like,
He just built different, yeah.
But it was.
But Luka does that too, like with those passes where Luka, it looks like he's going for a layup, and all of a sudden the ball is way over there, perfectly placed.
Yeah. So the skill level is like, we saw a few of those guys growing up who were, I mean, Jason Kidd was an elite passer like 20 years ago, and Steve Nash was an elite passer. But now you have a guy who's 7'1" doing that, and Nikola Jokic, and Luka's like 6'7" or 6'8". He's a big dude. I mean, sorry, before Jason Kidd, we had Magic Johnson, and Magic was like, obviously, he's on the Mount Rushmore of greatest of all time, and was a wizard with the basketball. So we had, but there are more guys who are Magic-esque who have that skill with passing than just the 1'6'9" point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers who was just an icon.
And they're Europeans.
Yeah.
They're Europeans. You look at
Those two for sure.
you look at the top 5 players in the NBA right now. How many of them are American born?
Well, I'd say I'd probably put Bron at the 5. And then put Shea's probably 1 or 2. It's Nikola, Shea, Giannis, Luka, Bron. It's probably my top 5. And like Steph is still incredible, and I say that's probably my 5. Tatum is incredible, and I don't mind it. I don't mind the way that the game is evolved.
Oh, for sure, it's expanded. It's gone global, and that's what you would expect to happen. More kids picking up basketballs. Do you have anything else?
I want to know who he thinks the GOAT is.
That's where I was going.
Because
Like, I've had my mind changed about LeBron being the GOAT. But I've gone back to Michael. I think LeBron might be the best, but Michael's resume is greater. And Michael has like some things that LeBron's never done, like a defensive player of the year. He's on like 9 straight all defense teams, and Bron I think is on like 1 or 2 or something. I mean, when LeBron needs to activate, then he can, and he can be a difference maker. We've seen him do chase down blocks and stuff like that. But like, yeah. But you know, they gave other people MVPs because they got MVP fatigue. Like, we're just tired of Michael is clearly the best in the league. We're just, you know what?
That's
all right, Charles, you're gonna get
wild.
one.
Yeah.
You know, Carmelo, you're gonna get one.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna
Bryant
get a
too.
ring when you're playing against him. So
Yeah. Wait, I think Chauncey Billups said this, and these are my words. He said, when Michael played, nobody ate. But when LeBron played, everybody ate. It's like meaning everybody else got championships. But when Michael played, only Michael ate. And I was like, that's I mean, you played in the NBA, so like I gotta take what you say and your experience over mine as just a casual fan sitting here playing video games, eating friggin' Cheetos or A&W at 2:11 a.m.
Now I want A&W.
Go get some. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself.
Did LeBron have the same aura that you said Michael Jordan had an aura about him?
No.
LeBron doesn't.
Kobe and Michael had in my experience.
Yeah.
Hove had it too. Jay-Z had it too. A couple times. Oh, and then Beyonce like moves in slow motion. Like Beyonce, you see her in real life, like, wow, that's Beyonce. Like you whisper. Like there's no noise around Beyonce. Like you things have to be calm. I mean, she can make noise if she's singing, but like
she meant it when she said "world stop."
that, like, there's the amount of respect for Beyonce, like Queen Riri. Like, there's just like these queens, just like, I'm not throw that away. I'm not coming out of pocket or anything like that. So yeah, she. I've only seen her in real life one time, and it was with Jay-Z, and Jay-Z had. I remember I interviewed him, and I was stumbling as though I was speaking to Jennifer Lopez. I was looking at Halle Berry, and I'm like, Jay, hope it can't dream. It's like, what language are you speaking, bro? Are you speaking friggin', I don't know, Aramaic? It was just like 3000 BC, bro. Like, what is coming out of your mouth?
Right.
Speak. You're a grown man. And I just was flustered. Or when Sierra did that to me once too. Sierra, Good God.
different. Yeah.
Oh, straight from heaven. It's like you are.
Yeah, write a book, brother. You have the list is
Seriously.
long.
Oh.
like,
Just such a donkey, bro. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for asking. Those are great memories to like
yeah.
go back to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we appreciate you. We
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
you.
Thanks. This is a lot of fun. I hope.
We're so glad you came through.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.
Oh,
Seriously, because like.
Exactly what we expected, though.
Yeah, it also shows people like me as well. Because sometimes I feel like I can be a bit too much. No, because why not?
Oh yeah, no. Be all you.
Yeah, so I appreciate that.
Bend the world to you. Not don't have the world bend. You bend to the world.
Period.
Thank you very much.
On that note,
Great to see you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
very much. Thank you all for tuning in again to another episode of the YAAACE Time podcast. We will see you on the next one.